Today on the Bulldog Tour Show, we're visiting Charleston's most popular attractions to share some secrets about them you might not know about. Charleston has some incredible sights to admire from the Battery all the way down to the market. Many of these places you're likely familiar with already. However, there are a number of stories about these attractions that aren't exactly common knowledge, and today we're excited to share them with you. So here are 5 secrets you might not know about Charleston. The market in Charleston is often the first stop for visitors, and many still call it the slave market today. Contrary to popular belief, slaves were never sold here, but instead many slaves were merchants here selling fish, meat, or produce at the public market. The Pinckney family donated this land to the city in 1807, noting that if land ever be used for anything other than a market space, they would reclaim ownership. The Market Hall on Broad Street was originally a butcher shop signified by the skulls decorating the building today. Years ago, visitors noted flocks of vultures or Charleston eagles who would keep the surrounding streets clean of food waste. Rainbow Row has been a favorite landmark for visitors since these buildings were painted their iconic pastel colors in the 1930s. Some people say these buildings were painted different colors to help drunken sailors find their boarding for the night, or to help illiterate slaves know what supplies were sold in each building. However, these stories are only rumors. These buildings, built in the 1700s, were initially homes of wealthy merchants, and most are still residences today. If you're looking for a great photo opportunity, Rainbow Row still remains one of the best in the city. Today, Chalmers Street is easily recognized as the longest cobblestone street in Charleston. You may know that these stones were brought from England as ballast in their massive ships, and repurposed to pave many of the city's early streets. You may not know that Chalmers Street is the site of Ryan's Slave Mart. Many historians believe this to be the last surviving slave auction building in the state of South Carolina. The mart sold slaves from 1856 to 1865 when Union soldiers occupying the city freed the last slaves imprisoned here. Today, the building has been preserved and operates as a museum dedicated to interpreting the history of Charleston's slave trade. The four corners of law dominate the intersection of Broad and Meeting Streets with historic landmarks dedicated to the laws of God, the nation, the county, and the city. On a stroll down Broad Street, you may have stopped in the Blind Tiger, a great spot for a burger and a beer. Blind Tiger was actually once code for secret speakeasies where Charleston residents could purchase alcohol illegally during Prohibition and decades of strict local laws. Today, rumors of secret underground tunnels beneath the street persist, and Tavern Wine and Spirits boasts a cellar that displays entrances to these now closed-off thoroughfares. Apparently, even the 4 laws of man can't stop thirsty Charlestonians. Most people know the Battery was named for the cannons here that fortified the peninsula during the Civil War. In her diary, Mary Boykin Chestnut recalls watching these cannons bombard Fort Sumter on April 12, 1861, in what would be the incident that sparked the American Civil War. At 4:30, the heavy bombing of a cannon. I sprang out of bed, and on my knees prostrate, I prayed as I never prayed before. The women were wild there on the housetop. Prayers came from the women and curses from the men. And then a shell would light up the scene. We hear nothing, can listen to nothing. Boom, boom, goes the cannon all the time. You may not know the Battery was initially called Oyster Point or White Point Gardens. These names were given after the buildup of oyster shells from thousands of years of Native American feasts on this very spot. Sailors on ships sailing by Charleston noted the blinding white color from the massive buildup of shells. That's a lot of oysters.